Two on Your Side is back now with an investigation into the Buffalo Police Department.
When there's an emergency here in the city, can residents count on police to show up in a timely manner? Investigative Post analyzed the response times dating back to 2014.
And they noticed that the times got worse and worse and worse year after year, and that some parts of the city had to wait longer for an officer than others. Jeff Kelly set out to find out why.
When you call a cop, odds are you want one right away. But in the city of Buffalo, the time it takes police to respond to calls, even the most urgent ones, has been creeping up and up. Common Councilman David Rivera, a former Buffalo detective who chairs the Police Oversight Committee, says that's not news to him.
I mean, I get calls all the time, why did it take 2 hours? Why did it take a half hour for the police to get here?
Investigative Post analyzed 6.5 years of 911 calls to Buffalo police between 2014 and 2020. Specifically, we looked at response times for 5 high-priority calls, including guns and shootings, assault, domestic violence, and burglary. Across the board, we found police response times have been getting slower. This despite the fact that the volume of high-priority calls to Buffalo police has dropped by about a quarter in that time period. And the number of police officers available to take those calls has actually risen from a low of 700 in 2016 to 748 today. That doesn't make a lot of sense to Michael Powell, chair of the Buffalo Police Advisory Board.
I was never great at math, but I can tell that doesn't quite add up.
How long you wait for police to show depends on where you're calling from. If you witness an assault on the city's east side and call 911, the median response time is about 21 minutes, according to data from Erie County Central Police Services. Call in the same crime in South Buffalo, and cops will get there in half the time. The difference is even bigger for domestic violence calls. In predominantly white South Buffalo, the median response time is about 10 minutes. In C District, the heart of the predominantly African American East Side, almost 26 minutes. Bottom line, police respond to 911 calls more quickly in white neighborhoods than in black, often a lot more quickly.
You can easily say that it's racism, but I think it even goes deeper than that.
Captain Jeff Rinaldo, spokesman for the Buffalo Police Department until his retirement last summer, says that's not it.
In terms of this being a race issue, it's just absolutely not accurate.
The neighborhoods where response times are slowest also generate the most high-priority calls. According to Rinaldo, minimum staffing levels required under the police union's contract limit the department's ability to shift resources into high-crime areas. Having enough patrol cars in good working order has been an issue too.
Ideally, we'd like nobody to have to wait an exorbitant amount of time for police service, but you have to be able to balance your resources.
Regardless of the reasons, the difference in response times, one neighborhood versus another, coupled with an overarching distrust of police, can have a chilling effect. Powell says he hears it all the time at community meetings.
I'm not even going to bother wasting my time calling the police because I know they're not going to show up. And if they do, I don't know what's going to happen.
Powell said that may explain why 911 calls are down, at least in part. Crime in the city has also declined over the past decade following national trends. It's difficult to say how Buffalo police compare to other cities for a host of reasons. Different demographics, different geography. Not to mention, there's no national standard for how to report and collect 911 data. It's all apples and oranges. But Rivera, the cop-turned-council member, believes manpower is an issue. When he joined the force 40 years ago, Buffalo had nearly twice the number of patrol officers it has now.
The only time you know there's less police officers is in the response time to 911 calls. It takes longer for the police officers to get there.
For Channel 2 News, I'm Jeff Kelly with Investigative Post.